Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Everyone makes mistakes, but sometimes those mistakes can turn into a huge loss for you, financially speaking. When we talk about mistakes, it's fine if you spilled a little milk or dropped your favorite mug, but some mistakes can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. Keep watching to get a glimpse of some of the most expensive mistakes in history. Number 10. Bitcoin mess-up. Bitcoins are in the limelight right now, and everyone seems to be benefiting from them. But there was a time when people weren't aware of what Bitcoin was or how it worked. Back then, an IT worker in the UK, James Howells, managed to mine 7,500 Bitcoins. He then tried to sell various parts of his computer, but kept the hard drive with the Bitcoins on it safe. Later on, while cleaning, he accidentally chucked away the hard drive with the Bitcoins. The value of one Bitcoin was $17,000 when he checked, which means that if he had kept the hard drive safe, he would be the rightful owner of $127 million. James even tried to look for the hard drive and requested the city to let him look for it in the landfill, but the request was denied on the basis that searching and mining the landfill would have a huge environmental impact on the surrounding areas. You can't win against the law. A simple mistake made while cleaning deprived James of being a multi-millionaire.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. One-of-a-kind guitar damaged. Quentin Tarantino movies have always been known to keep us on the edge of our seats, with tons of characters doing their best. But there was one time when one of these characters messed up big time, and it ended up costing a lot. In The Hateful Eight, Kurt Russell was playing the role of a KG bounty hunter and had to incorporate a guitar in his role. This guitar was taken from a museum and was no ordinary guitar. It was from the 1870s and was said to be 145 years old. There were 6 additional fake guitars made and replicated, which would be used when Kirk would have to hit it against a pole or destroy it. Instead, Kurt accidentally hit the 145-year-old guitar and broke it beyond repair. What's even more embarrassing is that no one bothered to inform the museum of the issue, and they had to find out about it through the media. Needless to say, the museum won't be handing out ancient artifacts to anyone, even if it is Quentin Tarantino himself. Number 8. Walkie-talkie building. The engineers and builders made a huge mistake while creating the $220 million skyscraper known as Walkie-talkie Building. The structure of the building was made in such a way that it was curved at a certain angle, and the exterior was made completely out of glass. As a result, the building would reflect sunlight on a particular spot in a street in London at a specific time of the day. This spot was so dangerous that anyone who had parked there would return to all of the plastic melted and scorched. Not only that, sometimes the panels of the cars would be disfigured as well. Shopkeepers nearby had to remove their mats before they would start catching fire. Instead of the walkie-talkie, it was then called the walkie-scorchie. A lot more money was spent and panels were introduced into the design of the building to fix the problem. Number 7. Chernobyl. By now, everyone seems to be aware of the disaster that was Chernobyl because of HBO. But what you might have missed from the miniseries was that being a deadly nuclear disaster, this was also one of the costliest mistakes in all of history. The financial loss was so huge that experts still cannot put a price on the loss that was faced. Estimates were put forward that state that it cost around $200 to $400 billion. What's even more agitating is that a lot of events were easily avoidable and could have been prevented. It started when a drill stimulating a power outage led to horrible ruptures and a steam fire burned on for 9 consecutive days. Because of various design flaws, there was not just financial damage, but the loss of life as well. 134 workers were taken to the hospital after the incident, out of which 14 died because of the radiation. Number 6. Fat trains. We all have been in a place when we would try to keep the size of our garage in mind when we are out getting a new car. Unfortunately, people at SNCF failed to keep that in mind when they spent a staggering $15 billion on their high-speed trains. The trains moved like the wind, but the problems arrived when they were supposed to be serviced at the stations. It was found that the trains were too wide and could not fit through the stations. As a result, they had to spend a further $55 million to upgrade the stations. The designers then tried to let the whole incident go away by saying that it was normal to upgrade stations while welcoming the new generation of train. But it would have been a lot smarter financially if they had kept the measurements in mind while making the trains. Number 5. Blockbuster's mistake. All of us can easily watch movies online now, but a few years back, it was Blockbuster who was responsible for giving people a place to buy and rent DVDs. Blockbuster, the biggest video retail in the country, doesn't exist anymore, and a major reason for their downfall was their lack of investment when it came to managing their future. At the time when Blockbuster was famous and noteworthy, Reed Hastings, the CEO and co-founder of Netflix, was trying to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for a total of $50 million. During that period, Netflix was a DVD by mail rental service and was facing a lot of loss, so they tried to get rid of it. This was done by offering Blockbuster's CEO John Antioco various chances to buy Netflix, but he had no interest in it. One might think that $50 million was a huge amount, but you might be surprised to know that Netflix is worth a staggering $19.7 billion as of now. John Antioco's short-sightedness led him to the failure of Blockbuster, while Netflix is one of the biggest streaming platforms in the world. Number 4. The Walkway collapse in the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Hotels are supposed to be chill and peaceful, so you can go there and have fun and rest. They are definitely not supposed to collapse. That too, on top of people having a party. But that is exactly what happened at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Kansas City. On July 17, 1981, 2 vertical walkways collapsed in the lobby of the Hyatt Regency. The first walkway fell down on top of another walkway, and both of them collapsed on a tea dance party being held below it. The incident claimed the lives of 114 people. On investigation, they found pretty serious flaws in the design of both the walkways. Moreover, the engineers who had initially worked on designing the walkways and approving them were convicted of misconduct and gross negligence. Horrible design and use of beams that could support only 30% of the load was the cause of the collapse. They even lost their engineering license. Number 3. Disaster of the Hindenburg. Back in the 1900s, airships were all the hype. Wealthy people would travel all over the world in these airships. From Europe to North America and South America, it would take them half the time, and they moved around in extreme luxury. With fancy meals and luxurious dining, there wasn't anything missing. All of that was ended because of the presence of 7 million cubic feet of hydrogen gas above the quarters of the airship. There was an electrostatic spark which resulted in a huge amount of hydrogen gas leaking. Luckily, the incident didn't kill everyone, but if you have seen the graphic newsreel video, you would know that it was extremely terrifying and gruesome. Out of 97 passengers, 62 of them survived as they jumped out the windows and ran at the speed of light. In the video, you can see the Hindenburg burning and scorching as the flames surround it, all because of consecution and design flaws. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. Bridge botched. This picture of a misaligned bridge has left people perplexed if it's real or not. We doubt it's real, but we get the idea behind it. There was a bridge that was an engineering disaster and cost the UK millions of dollars. Millennium Bridge between the City of London and Bankside of South London was aesthetically pleasing, and around $22 million were spent on it. The bridge couldn't last for long though, as it began to wobble and move dangerously. After a little research, it was found out that the bridge was moving because when a pedestrian would walk on the bridge, the forces that helped them balance their feet on the ground unbalanced the bridge. After 2 years of effort, there were 91 dampers put in the bridge, which helped in making it sturdy. The total cost of the mistake went as high as $6 million, and a lot of embarrassment for the engineers because they failed to understand how humans walked. Number 1. Titanic. You might be aware of all the lives that were lost on the Titanic, but that wasn't all. There was a huge financial loss in it as well. The huge ship, which was known to be unsinkable, disappointed a lot of people when it did indeed sink in the ocean. There were warnings given to the crew about the possible dangers of the iceberg, but they blew it off as they were excited to see how it worked in the waters. There was a huge loss of around $7.5 million, and a lot could have been done to prevent the accident from happening in the first place. The major mistake was that there were no binoculars present in the crow's nest the night that the Titanic sunk. This means that the crew was completely unaware, and no one even bothered to take a look ahead and check whether it was free of any hurdles or not. Which one of these do you think was the biggest disaster? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.